one of the most famous fighters of his generation, fighting in one of the famous stadiums in the world. Can you imagine being AJ right now? A lot of pressure too, though. Don't get it twisted. You've got to perform in front of 96,000 of your closest friends.
Mamma mia! Rosie, a social media sensation turned boxer, has turned the sport on its ear. This is incredible. And what must be going through this 27-year-old's mind, like so many members of his generation, dealing with mental health issues. Here we go!
The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua has ignited strong debate within the boxing community. Most professional fighters and analysts believe Joshua would overwhelmingly dominate due to his massive size, elite power, and years of world-class heavyweight experience. His Olympic background, championship pedigree, and proven knockout ability give him a clear edge, while Jake Paul has shown noticeable improvement and earned wins over MMA fighters and lower-level boxers. He has never faced a genuine top-tier heavyweight. Experts suggest Paul's only hope will be landing an early surprise punch. However, Joshua's disciplined approach, sharp jab, and ring control are expected to neutralize any threat, leading many to predict a quick, one-sided stoppage.
To Nikisa, a few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close, or, you know, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year, of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and, you know, part of that plan as well. But at the moment, you know, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be... I mean, my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. I mean, Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. Like, you know, I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, you know, like if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, you know, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, you know. So it would be huge, but nothing, you know, to tell you it's close. Just
the highly anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is officially scheduled for December 19th, 2025 at the Casa Center in Miami, with global streaming on Netflix. This is not an exhibition bout, but a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight contest under traditional Queensberry rules. The fight will consist of 8 3-minute rounds using 10-ounce gloves. To create a more balanced matchup, Joshua has agreed to a contracted weight limit of 245 pounds, which is lower than his usual fighting weight. With both fighters risking their professional records, the stakes are extremely high. A knockout and a clear, decisive outcome are very much possible.
I think Jake Paul will face the two-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua on Friday, December the 19th in Miami, Florida. It's going to be an 8-round fight with 3-minute rounds and 10-ounce gloves. It's Joshua's first fight since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September last year. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision against veteran Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year. Well, Jake Paul said this: a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted. To the people of the United Kingdom.
The boxing community and fans have voiced strong reactions to Jake Paul challenging Anthony Joshua, with many viewing the move as unrealistic and overly ambitious given Joshua's elite experience and heavyweight pedigree.
Like the real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo, Gervonta, And now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying? The co-founder of MVP and someone that...
Dave Allen has strongly cautioned that Anthony Joshua could harm his reputation by agreeing to fight Jake Paul. He argues that even allowing Paul to land a clean punch could undermine everything Joshua has worked for throughout his career. Allen believes the matchup is driven more by entertainment value than sporting merit and questions whether Joshua would genuinely want to take such a risk. He suggests that many dedicated boxing fans would see the fight as a step backward rather than a challenge. According to Allen, facing a YouTuber-turned-boxer could cause Joshua a level of respect within the boxing community.
Lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him. I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights of the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect for him when he fought in Ngannou? Did you lose respect for Fury when he fought in Ngannou?
Ngannou was a serious fighting man. World champion of mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion with Anthony Joshua, so why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar, whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it...
With the bout expected to be officially sanctioned rather than an exhibition, Roy Jones Jr. has openly dismissed the notion that Jake Paul could become a legitimate world champion. Jones questions Paul's ability to capture a meaningful title, arguing that he has mostly avoided facing truly battle-tested, elite-level opponents. He believes that if Paul were to step up against experienced, high-caliber boxers, he would struggle and likely lose. While Jones concedes that Paul could eventually secure a title opportunity due to his popularity and marketability, he suggests it would only come under highly favorable conditions. Overall, Jones Jr. remains doubtful that Paul has what it takes to walk away with a genuine
world champion.
No.
Why?
I think if they make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience, those guys will beat him. Now, if you get somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught at the end of their career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes over 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. You understand me? So he's not going to beat those guys. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has a mentality further than his, but past the prime, it kind of even.
Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has dismissed Jake Paul's boxing skills, calling him an average fighter. Hearn questions whether Paul can compete at the highest level, especially against someone like Joshua, arguing that despite Paul's improvements, he remains far from the caliber required to challenge elite heavyweight boxers.
Good for the sport of boxing.
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean,
Yeah.
Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart.
Okay.
Content, we have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. I'm thinking, am I like...
Eddie Hearn also criticized Jake Paul for making outrageous claims, including suggesting he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn considers such statements absurd, arguing that Paul is vastly overestimating his abilities. While Paul has defeated former MMA fighters and lower-level boxers, many experts find the idea of him challenging elite, world-class fighters like Canelo or Joshua completely unrealistic.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul will be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in, Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury and Ngannou was when it came around, or or Mayweather McGregor.
Simon Jordan, the former Crystal Palace owner and outspoken boxing pundit, has issued a harsh warning to Jake Paul regarding his proposed fight with Anthony Joshua. Jordan claims the matchup is a mockery of the sport, arguing that Paul lacks the skill, experience, and legitimacy to face a heavyweight icon like Joshua. He believed the fight would damage boxing's credibility, calling it a prime example of everything wrong with the sport. Jordan predicts that Paul will be thoroughly outmatched and likely demolished. Beyond the risk to Paul, he warns that the bout would cheapen Joshua's legacy, turning a serious competition into mere entertainment spectacle.
Player welfare, and he's in a situation where someone's welfare should be considered in the equation, not his financial welfare. But Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss to Daniel Dubois. Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in the way of getting seriously hurt here, like Francis Ngannou did. Francis Ngannou was an MMA fighter that got blasted out by Anthony Joshua. A fitter, more focused Anthony Joshua than the version we've got now, possibly. But this, to me, is everything that's wrong with boxing. It's a money play, nothing wrong. I don't begrudge Anthony Joshua getting 50 million quid for an easy night's work. That's fantastic returns. Most people would take it. From the boxing world, Jake Paul is now a professional fighter. Whether we categorise him as a YouTuber or not, he's licensed to fight, which means that the governing body should be suggesting that this is not a fight that possibly they should be looking to sanction.
Yeah.
But they will, because the sanctioning fees will be enormous. Anthony Joshua will not lose his legacy like some people are suggesting, because no one will remember it in 2 or 3 years' time. If he embarrasses himself in there, they'll remember it. But if he goes in and knocks him out in 30 seconds flat, or turns it into a little bit more of a sort of Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull, holding him up for a few rounds and then knocking him out, then people will forgive it. He'll get a big bag of money, which most people in the world would take, and move on. And then we'll see if he fights anybody meaningful in the year. I mean, it is like sport has become. And what I got my head around on Saturday night was the entertainment value of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. The fighting of itself, I could be all pious about it, but the entertainment industry is so prevalent in sport now. This is entertainment. This is going to have hundreds of millions of people watching it.
Of course.
And Anthony Joshua gets paid, and Jake Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. Well, I think boxing damages itself left, right, and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul is going to get demolished.
David Benz recognizes Jake Paul as a major draw in boxing, capable of generating attention and selling fights. While purists often criticize his skills, Benz believes Paul brings excitement to the sport and creates significant financial opportunity. Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has strongly condemned the idea of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, calling it a major disrespect to the sport of boxing. Chisora argued that true athletes earn their positions through hard work and by facing top-tier opponents, while Paul, fighting non-ranked or past-prime competitors, would advance solely because of his fame. He criticized WBC President Mauricio Sullivan for prioritizing money over credibility, stating, "That is a disgrace to boxing. That is unfair." Chisora stressed that legitimate rankings should be achieved in the ring, not handed out for promotional hype or clicks.
You've said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Sousa decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his back pocket. No, that is.
Lawrence Akoli has expressed serious concerns about a potential fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, warning it could be a significant safety risk. Although Akoli previously sparred with Paul and praised his dedication and mindset, he now believes that facing AJ, with his elite power, skill, and experience, would create a dangerously uneven matchup. Many boxing professionals share similar apprehensions. Promoter Eddie Hearn described the fight as dangerous, very dangerous, while Frank Warren called it an obvious mismatch due to Joshua's physical advantage. Former world champion Amir Khan also warned Paul that he could face severe harm in the ring against Joshua.
On this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake, but it doesn't. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
I think Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it.
Former world champion Carl Froch dismisses Jake Paul as a serious boxer, claiming he lacks true boxing skills and merely jumps around the ring. After observing Paul's fight against Tommy Fury, Froch called it a complete mismatch and emphasized that Paul is far from being a legitimate contender.
Jake Paul, that's serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he's just so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like you put him with someone his own size. It was a professional. It's a mismatch, and you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different.
Do you think Jake Paul challenging Joshua is a clever move or an enormous risk?